Hola.
Hola.
¿Cómo está?
How's everybody?
Bien, bien, ¿y tú?
¿Y tú?
We're having one of those days today, guys. It's all right.
Think of all the entertainment they would have got from my car ride, though.
I know that was fun.
I say that all the time in drive-thrus. People be like, "Huh?" You know how like in German it is Dankeschön? It's like thank you in German. I used to say donkey shit. And they're like, "Huh?"
Nice.
Yeah, it strikes me as something you would say.
Oh, always. How's everyone?
Oh God. Okay, so today we are talking about episode 7.
Halfway through?
Yeah, entitled Dark Cousin.
That's just racist.
I know, isn't it?
No. Who does the summoning?
Well, did everybody know what the Dark Cousin is referring to? And no, it's not the dude in the beginning.
Well, yeah, you kind of figure that afterwards, but
yeah.
Well, and the fact too. I mean, I know we'll talk about this, but I noticed because we had pointed it out last time how quickly it went to opening credits this time.
Yeah, and it's now doing that.
I mean, within like a minute and a half.
What's up?
Yeah, like one little half of a scene, just and we went into it.
Yeah, where they, we'd have like 10 minutes and then we'd have opening, and now we have like.
Maybe last season they had a very set pattern. They would do a flashback. They would reveal the flashback. It would go all the way through the scene. We would jump into the modern day, and then we would go to credits. It was like that almost every single episode, unless it was a two-parter last season. This one doesn't have a theme or a pattern. It just kind of happens.
It has a lot of patterns, but a lot of storyline patterns.
A lot of storyline stuffed into one episode. It's like, pay attention. Buckle in, because you're going on a wild ride, and this is only one episode.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot in this episode.
Yep. So
you guys have no idea what's going on the other side of me right now.
Oh, hello, guys. Yeah. We need to take bets.
We need to take bets before we start. How long before this happens?
Well, that didn't last for 30 seconds.
Kate dug a hole. Go tell Dad that Kate dug a hole.
Dad.
Dang dog. Go tell Dad.
So here we go. We're going into the asylum now. Dun dun dun.
That's great. I've been there.
I know.
What an opening!
What's the opening?
That was
the opening.
What?
They're going into there's 2 nurses.
Oh,
into the asylum, right?
Which is, do you guys find that strange? How the fact is that like they showed a whole room of nurses, and I guess maybe because it's just the infirmary, but like there's a whole lot more nuns than there was before. It was just Jude and Eunice before. Now there's a whole ward of nuns for the sick people, but only 2 to control everybody.
That's always weirded me out about the show. That what I felt that it's been like really kind of
there's like
an unrealistic representation of
deal with them all.
What? Yeah, it's like there's nobody. Some episodes there's nobody there. It seems like really vacant, and in other episodes
there's no authority, no official authority, because you see the Monsignor come and go, and he's the official authority. So you're like. There's not much authority here.
Running around doing whatever they want to. It's like, where's all the direction that the other staff is supposed to be following? Now, granted,
even the other nurse, when she says, "Should we call Dr. Arden?" she says, "No, he's probably the one that did this to her." So they're all aware. It's suspicion.
Well,
they're all aware, but he's allowed to do whatever he wants.
And like when all hell breaks loose, like during the nor'easter, where was everybody? If all the people, where was everybody?
Technically.
We see a few orderlies in white throughout the season, but we don't see other nuns and stuff like that until you see them the infirmary.
And normally in a situation like that, normally you have at least a tech or 2, at least 2 techs in every room in case somebody gets assaulted.
Because
what we're going to get to with the kitchen, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. That would not happen.
There's no reason crazy people need to have access to sharp objects.
But again, I would like to see some reports on that asylum that Geraldo did the expose on.
The expose.
More stuff like that going on, because it might have been. It really might have been that poorly staffed where shit like that went down.
Mm-hmm. Because besides the other nuns in the infirmary, the only people we ever see interacting with any of the patients is like Frank. We see
Frank, big time Frank.
We see Mary Eunice. We see Sister Jude and a couple of orderlies, and that's pretty much it.
That's Threadson when he was there. Just our cast of people. Wasn't a lot of extras hired for that.
Obviously not.
Well, it's like you got a whole crew there. You can just put a crew in white, just put them in the set.
Oh yeah, I know. Because there's a hell of a lot more patients than there is actual staff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Those patients
Well, and for the time period, remember, they locked people up unwillingly, like we'll see later with what happens. But they could just call. Anybody could call and just lock you up, and it didn't matter. Yeah. You didn't have rights, and they just straight locked people up.
BRT mentioned something that he's saying that maybe this is just representation that they don't care, and I agree with that. That's why I want to see that expose that Geraldo did, because it might be like that. They just might not have cared. They really might have just left this in neglect like this.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Because the whole thing opens with Grace laying in the bed and she's running a fever. Obviously, she looks like death. Poor kid.
Mm-hmm. And then we meet death.
Yeah. Because she's literally hemorrhaging to death.
Mm-hmm.
And my question was this. Obviously, at the time, because they were saying that it's a botched abortion, obviously, we missed all of that because you only got to see the flash with the aliens like twice.
Mm-hmm.
And they never actually showed what they did to her, and then she ends up back in the bed.
Right.
Well, at this point,
did
she go up there and she had the baby?
She hasn't had the baby yet. No.
I know, but I mean, maybe they have the baby.
She's not pregnant yet.
Okay, so this is from that. Isn't this from that surgery they were going to do?
Yeah, she was supposed to have
That's what Mary Eunice accused. Yeah, Mary Eunice accused Arden of the sterilization, but
he never
didn't do it because the aliens took her.
Yeah. So again, there's who did what to when, where with the aliens involved is tricky because we don't know a time frame that happens once the aliens take you. So we just go with it.
And this is our first. This is our first view of the Angel of Death.
Yes, played by the lovely Francis Conroy. Beautiful. 1930s, 40s. What kind of?
Yeah, we're in the 40s or 50s.
Her garb.
Mm-hmm.
It was really almost like 1930s esque.
Yeah.
Just beautifully designed. That costume is beautifully designed.
No, 49 is when Judy hits Missy.
No, I'm talking about the.
We go back and forth.
Yeah. The costume of death I'm talking about, where it was inspired by the costume of death.
Yeah.
It's almost very 30s-ish.
It's almost very 30s-ish, yeah. But I love the fact that her wings come out every time she goes to hit someone.
So beautiful. Just that wing spread. Mm-hmm. The way her wings spread like this is beautiful.
Well, and the way she plays it is so.
Oh God, love so Francis freaking Conroy.
Yeah, I love the way that there's nothing evil about it. It's supposed to bring on fear, and it brings on nothing but comfort, nothing but love. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the first time I watched Asylum, I thought of something, because when the first time I was in the presence of somebody dying, of actually being with the person as they went through transition and went through and took their last breath.
Yeah.
The strange thing that happened to me in that room that moment, because I used to work on an AIDS ward, and I was with a young guy that wanted me there, and I talked him through the whole transition. That was the first time. I've seen many people die since, but that was the first time. And I had already seen Kaylee born, my niece born a year or so before. The atmosphere and the feeling in the room was exactly the same as birth and death, as it was. And that was the most striking thing about the whole thing to me. And that's what Francis Conroy reminds me of, is this whole just that atmosphere. There was something just really, really beautiful about the experience. Even though people fear death, and the unknown and the scariness of the pain and all that. The feeling of it was nothing but love, nothing but just real peace.
And she's so soothing. You're just like, oh
Yeah.
I can just listen to you for hours.
You went my phone.
Yep.
Sorry guys, you're on the floor.
So that's our first the first time we get to see her.
Mm-hmm. She'll be around now, peppered in throughout.
So now she'll be peppered in throughout. So she almost took Grace in the beginning, but they were able to bring her back. And then Grace was like,
were they able to bring her back, or did Grace chicken out at the last minute?
No, they actually hit her. They hit her chest. And
yeah,
they
hit her chest. Yeah. They hit her chest right when she was about to kiss her, and shocked her heart.
And then,
I like the way the show is representing death, saying that it is the person that's making the transition. It's their choice, and they get to choose if that is the right moment. Meaning that they are at peace with it and able to choose at that moment. I really like the show telling it that way.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I think it made it like you were saying, like a peacefulness, a calmness about death. Definitely.
Yeah. Because
there's a calmness in knowing it's your decision.
Yeah, it is.
Because the next scene, she's like, "You should have just let me. You should have just let me go." Because she wanted to go.
Because she's seen death, she made that decision, and now she's feeling that was taken away from her.
Yeah,
knowing everything that she knows from being abducted by the aliens and her torment of being in there and all that.
So then we have the scene where they're talking about, the fact that she's bleeding and that Arden is, should we call Dr. Arden? No, Arden's the one who did this to her and blah, blah, blah. And then they cut to Arden's office where he's planting that one plant and Sister Mary Eunice walks in.
Mm-hmm. And, St. Eunice.
And does her condescending, you're better with your plants than you are with your patients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like,
this is where the battle starts.
This is where the battle starts. Yes.
Yeah. Well, she intimidated me that once when she was trying to come on with it, but now the war's on. It's on. And it's like only Arden is, when she came on to him a few episodes back, he seems to be the only one that's really picked up on the fact that she's a totally different person.
Yeah.
And it's like if you've known Eunice for any given period of time,
it's going to click for Jude because she's realizing something, but it hasn't fully clicked like it has for Arden. But Jude gets it soon.
Arden picked up on it almost immediately.
Oh, right, yeah. Because it's night and day difference. And it's like if you had paid attention to anything that's going on in your environment, you would notice something wrong with you. You can't go from this meek little thing to this powerhouse of just
just overnight. You can't do it.
Yeah.
But she basically just like, no, with Grace, you botched the sterilization, and he's like,
sterilization,
I never did the sterilization. Well, how is that possible?
Arden, he don't like to be blamed for something he didn't do, especially when he does things.
Not like that. It's like, no, her inside has been scooped out. It's like, ew, gross.
The sad thing is that they used to do that kind of crap.
I know.
They still do in countries.
Yeah, and not to mention a lot more.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I believe the next scene is the scene that I don't want to talk about.
Oh, God.
It grosses me out. Oh, gives me the heebie-jeebies every time.
And stuff like that really, really happens. Stuff like that with intense schizophrenia and the thoughts in their head, they get so convinced in their head that whatever they need to do in the mutilation is going to take away the pain, take away the voices. I had a gentleman, I kid you not.
Now the hard part is he's the one who summoned her.
Yeah.
So were the voices in his head really in his head, or was it demons in his head, or something? You know what I mean?
We'll never know unless we're on that side of it. Just trying to figure out, like I said, with schizophrenia.
And I kind of like that they don't explain that. They leave it open-ended because it does explain a lot about mental illness, like you were saying.
Well, like we used to kid all the time. We used to say, "Are they right? Or are we right? Who's in the right reality? Maybe they are right." But I had this gentleman one time when I was working. I kid you not, he had removed both of his testicles with a rock.
Oh.
It's real.
Oh, okay.
So
BRT said this episode is probably the bleakest and darkest the season gets, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're still not 100% positive Kit isn't a murderer if it's our first time seeing it. And you're totally right.
Totally
and especially after the stunt Kit's going to pull soon here, you're still not convinced.
Still not convinced.
Even with that,
you know that Thredson is bloody face, but you're not convinced that because you knew Kit's story wasn't connected. His story with Alma wasn't connected with bloody face. The police were just connecting that together. But like you say, we still were kind of thinking maybe he did kill his wife, you know?
Yeah, we don't know the aliens are real.
We don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, we don't. The only aspect that we could think on the aliens' true story and go with that storyline is the little thing that came out of his head. Other than that, everything else has got a double side to it. Everything else has got a different explanation.
And you know, it would have been really cool if they would have somehow like toyed with the idea that possibly there was some kind of government involved with, you know, like chipping people or something. So then we're questioning, okay, so was this governmental or does he really think he saw aliens or was it really aliens? Is this just the government coming back? I think that would have made more sense. I mean, I like the alien storyline, but I think that would have made more sense.
Yeah.
You could have had the aliens still, but you could have made it the government. You know what I mean?
They should have, because in any type of alien story, usually there is an aspect of government conspiracy.
Exactly. And the fact that that's a real American Horror Story in itself, government conspiracy, government alien conspiracies, you know.
Well, if he ever revisits the aliens again from the season, maybe we'll see that side of it. Maybe we'll see the whole.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I hope they do that. There's a big government type of involvement and cover up and whatnot. Some Roswell type of stuff.
You know what I could see them doing now, because Ryan Murphy likes to be really timely, is I could see them doing some sort of outbreak kind of thing, some sort of pandemic thing with the aliens involved
at some point.
Yeah, with the aliens involved,
because whatever the end game is, he knows what it is. He may not know all the details, but he knows what he wants his end game to be at this point. It may alter here and there throughout based on things that happen, but he knows he's renewed for so many more seasons, so he knows he has time to build to that end that he wants. Whenever it may be, 20 seasons down the road, 30 seasons down the road, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he'll do something pandemic-wise.
I don't think it's going to be 30 seasons, obviously. But, I mean, hell, who thought it was going to be 13? Maybe that'll be the end, because maybe it's like, let's end on lucky 13.
Let's end on number 13.
Well, think about it. 1984 was very heavily Friday the 13th based. Wouldn't it be cool if it was the 13th season and it's the last season and they aired it on a Friday the 13th? Well, no, because it's Wednesday. It's a Wednesday show. Damn.
Here's what I worry about at this point with the change and everything that's going on. Is shows like this that is in its 10th, 11th season, that's on a smaller aspect of like Fox on Hulu, you know, that kind of thing, is with all of these companies just bleeding money at this point. You know, Disney just borrowed on credit. They just borrowed $5 billion.
They just lost out in the stock market yesterday to Netflix because everybody's home.
What's going to happen to these smaller networks, these smaller shows? It's like, is that where all the cost cutting is going to start happening? And it would be really sad that at this point, our shows like this are just axed because of the pandemic, because of.
But if they already have contracts, they're not going to be able to.
No, not necessarily.
They've already widely announced AHS for 13. They're not going to
do that. There's something. There will be something in the clause about so long as they are not in production.
It'll be something little that like they thought would never happen, but just in case. And sure enough, they agreed to it because of that. And sure enough, it's like pandemic and it happened.
Yeah.
It's your loophole clause.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad. It's entertainment's changing. Everything's changing.
My daughter just watched the new Trolls movie on TV and we didn't order it. I didn't have to order it. I only saw part of it. It was cute. It was really cute.
You didn't order the new one?
No, it was on one of the Disney channels.
So that was the first one?
No, this was them singing with the Rocks, all the different genres of music and stuff.
Are you sure you didn't push order? You check your bill.
I might have to check that. You're right.
Isn't it like $30 to order it?
Yeah.
Check your bill. Because she don't even watch the whole movie if she did.
Yeah, it's like $30, I think, and you only get it for a short period of time. You don't own it. It's a rental.
It's a rental. You get it for 24 hours.
Yeah.
48 hours.
Yeah. It's
What the fuck?
Yeah. All right. So now
I'll be right back. I have to go check on something.
Oh, it's $20, $19.99.
$19.99. Still, that's a lot.
Buy it for that.
For $20 for 24 hours.
So yeah, we're gonna go back to the asylum now.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're going back to the asylum with the cane.
So we're still in the bakery.
Beginning. So we're in the bakery, and then we see this young man who's obviously hearing voices. He's obviously incredibly traumatized by what the voices are telling him, and basically it just boils down to pain. There's some aspect of pain that he's having, emotional pain, physical pain, and the voices are telling him to eliminate the pain, to cut out the pain, and that's very classic. And so he finds a way to manipulate the staff there, the nurses there, to get himself to
that was funny.
Was it a meat cutter? Was it a meat? I turned my head.
No, it was the bread slicer.
It was a bread slicer. That's right, because they baked all the bread there. The bread slicer, and he cuts off his hand. And right there is self-mutilation, and it's just tragic. And we have all this chaos that ensues from something like this. But again, that was just I think they filmed these type of scenes just to show a environmental type thing. This is the type of stuff that these people deal with on a daily basis, because he doesn't have any aspect into the story.
No, because he has basically when Sister Mary Eunice asks him about it when he's on the gurney, because when she gets in there and there's that word that's written on the wall and we don't know what it means.
Yeah.
Okay, and she's asking him all these questions. He's like, "Is that what that means? I have no idea. Didn't even realize I was doing it."
Yeah. And that's right. He writes the name of death on the wall. It's her ancient Hebrew name or something or other.
Something like that. It's Aramaic.
On the wall. And the devil sees it, and now the devil, because death and the devil, I guess, are adversaries in this world, or in this type of literature, whatever.
Right.
But, devil knows he can't compete with death, and death knows he's got the upper hand, the upper say in the finality of what she's doing. I don't know the whole conflict, but there is a standoff. This is one where the devil can't just automatically say what goes on, and he doesn't like that. Doesn't like the fact that he has this extra complication into the matter. And death in her beauty and her calm is just like she knows she's got the upper hand on this situation.
Well, and because
so this is the first thing that bothers the devil in this situation.
And she goes storming out of the room saying that remove that right now, blah blah blah, and then they end up. He goes and apparently has stitches, and they end up putting him in solitary because they don't tolerate that type of action. And so they put him in solitary, and they actually tie him down, and they're basically telling him, make sure you don't open your stitches, because obviously if you do, you're going to bleed to death. And then he's trying to actually open his stitches because he doesn't want to be in this world anymore. He's done. Correct. Basically what he tells Frank. He's like, I don't want to be in this world anymore. And as he's opening up his stitches, that's when the angel of death shows up.
Yeah. And then that's when they have their little, because Eunice is there, right? And they have their little meeting right after.
Yeah, she shows up like right as she's kissing him to take him. Then she shows up and the angel's like, who is this? Who's no one's allowed to watch while this is happening. Who is actually here? And that's when she walks in the room, and they have that confrontation, and she says, there's an innocence about you. The girl that is trapped there with you, you're keeping her against her will. And we see her come out a little bit
in pain, just in agony.
And major snaps for Lily Robb on this one, because
she's just screaming for help. You feel really bad for her. It's almost like over the top, but it's just like, whoa, shit, wow, she really still is in there. And the angel, even though the angel of death can't do anything about that, she can't help her, but she can just bring to light to show that she sees Eunice, and she sees them both, and she's just telling Satan, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. You're gonna do your shit. But think of this girl. She's an innocent. And why are you holding her?
Yeah. And then basically they have the confrontation where she says she still has work to do, and then the angel says, well, so do I. And so there's the standoff there, and they just kind of
motherfucker. Basically, the devil can't take away her work, she can't take away his work, so there's a standoff, it's on, you know.
Nope.
Who gets to kill these people first?
Yeah.
Free will or the devil?
And then we ended up going back to a scene with Sister Jude in the room.
Oh yeah, where she's investigating.
And that's where we get to see all the blood and stuff on the floor.
Yeah,
There's a lot of bodies laying in blood.
Huh?
There's a lot of bodies laying in blood this.
Now, when did she see the paperwork yet?
No, that doesn't happen until after he dies.
Okay. So she shows up there to investigate. She wants to figure out what the hell's going on with Arden. And she shows up, and this man's laying there dead on the floor. She's like, oh!
Well, he's not dead yet, but you know, he's not dead yet. He's still alive.
And she's like, she goes down to him. He's got like all this glass shard in him. She's like, what happened? What happened?
And I had mentioned this to Mel the other day. I'm like, could she have possibly overacted that any more than she actually did?
Right.
Oh my God. Like, Jessica, love you to death, but you overdid it.
Yeah, it was great. Most people would be in a state of, you know, just frozen, almost. Shock, oh my God, what do I do? You know, let me help you. You go into that zone. Let me help you. But she's like, like
I know. It's like, could you have laid it on any thicker?
Yeah,
that was the only time where I was like,
you know what would have been cool is the glass that was stuck in his neck. We see, you know, they show the flash of Mary Eunice breaking the mirror and stabbing him in the neck. It would have been really cool if somehow Jude would have gotten the glass to him, and then the glass with the fingerprint was what was in his neck that she got of Arden's fingerprint.
I talked about that earlier. That would have been a nice twist.
That would have been cool. Just I mean, it wouldn't have changed anything plot wise. It would have been irony, you know.
Yeah. So she's down there, and he says, "Nuns." What are you talking about? He's
one of yours.
Arden. He's no,
none.
Who? What nuns? He's one of yours. And then we get the flash of Eunice doing it, and it's pretty violent.
And then it all clicks for Jude.
It all clicks.
He remembers back to the original possession when the boy came in. She remembers everything.
I was in your head, remember?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. He says
that's a little bit later in the scene, but
yeah.
Basically, she runs. She's like, I need to get you help. So she picks up the phone and calls. Calls 911, and then the angel of death comes and takes him.
She sees her.
Huh?
Jude sees her because she's met her before.
No, she didn't see her. I noticed that. That was the thing. She sees her when she's in the restaurant, but she doesn't notice her when she takes the man because she hasn't told for her yet.
Looking in the mirror, I thought she did.
The audience saw her, but
we saw her. Jude didn't.
Okay.
But then as she hangs up the phone, then she turns around. That's when she sees like the newspaper clipping on the TV, and the murderer written on it, and she freaks out about that. And yeah,
and Jude didn't see her because remember when she confronted Mary Eunice, she said, you know, how is it what is inside you, or what is dark inside you that can look upon me? And so she knew that it was inside of her. Jude didn't have that darkness inside of her. She sees her later because she calls her and she tells her that your song was different this time.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then we have the whole callback to she remembers hitting Missy and basically going on a drunken stupor, and they kick her out.
With the flash of her the morning after.
Yeah, and the guy coming to the hotel and saying he missed a day.
The morning after. Is it the morning after? And that's why she missed the gig? Because I thought she was at a gig and then got.
No, that was all flashback stuff.
Yeah, it was the last time she speaks to that guy, isn't it? The night she hit the little girl.
No,
wasn't it? And then there's the morning after.
It was like the morning after. It was a couple days
after.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, it seemed like it was the morning after, but based on the timeline that we'd already seen up to that point of what she was doing that night, It didn't seem like it seemed like she would have been at a gig, but maybe she forgot the gig and was out drinking, and doing that.
Yeah.
No, she went driving that night. She went driving that night because they fired her.
Yeah.
Or she missed the gig. Yeah. They fired her.
They gave her severance, and he basically.
Yeah.
And then she went out and killed the person. So it wouldn't have been one.
She went out and
No. That was flashback back and forth when she goes out to leave town because he already told her about the cops. The card from the cops is in the envelope with the money. And so then that's when she packs up to leave town.
She packs up to leave town.
And she starts having the flashback about it because she does crash into something.
Gotcha.
And she ends up crashing in
front. They show her with her hair, around with her scarf. And then the other one, she didn't have that on and she had the red on. And the other one, this one, she had a blue on.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But which is
very ironic, the color choices there, and then obviously the blue because of where she ends up.
Yeah,
and then the ravish me red before because she was promiscuous, Judy. Which promiscuity, the color red, is very much associated with promiscuity.
Yeah. Because the next crash she has, she actually crashes in front of the monastery.
The monastery. Yeah.
That's when she
crashes in front of the statue of the angel.
Yeah.
Which is in front of the monastery.
Yeah,
she's looking up at it and she's like, "Oh my God!"
Like, I see God.
The light glaring off of it and everything. It was a beautiful shot.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. So okay. So where are we? Let's see.
She crashes. The nuns come up to her. They talk to her. And what did they say?
You need Jesus.
No, they basically asked her. They basically, oh my God, my child, are you okay? Are you hurt,
ma'am? What would Jesus do?
Mm-hmm.
WWJD.
Let me show you the way of God.
Oh, did you see?
They ask her if she's okay. Yep. She says that she's okay once she realizes where she's at and she's looking at this statue, and you see the change in her eyes. You do.
See that what was neat about this character that I always found really fascinating the way they wrote her, because you would think with any normal type of literature, fiction, whatever, that a woman like this or a man, whoever with this type of background and history of lifestyle wouldn't have made that connection yet. Usually it's a learning development as they go through. Maybe they seek this and they go to it, but they're not really connected with it yet until they really learn and find peace with themselves. You could see in Jude's eyes that she was there. She had made this connection. As soon as she saw the statue, there was that change. There was I found something to save me right now,
Right.
Yeah.
Now we're probably jumping around a little bit, but we do need to go back to Arden and the fact that he does go back to Grace.
Yes, he does, and he gives her the antibiotics.
He gives her the antibiotics.
He tells her, "You're going to live to tell people I didn't do this."
Yeah.
You will live.
It's so sick.
He said if anything, to set the record straight.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to take credit for this botch job.
Right. Because he's good for that, Fuck all these other botch jobs that run through the damn place later.
Crazy fucker.
God. He's such a... I love James Cromwell, but this character is just
my God. It makes you hate him, right?
Oh.
Right.
It makes you want to hate him so bad.
Yeah, he's gross. He's a disgusting character.
It is. You're right. And it's supposed to be.
Yeah. That's why you're supposed to hate him.
And we already passed the scene with Bloody Face and Lana, right?
No, not yet. No.
Not yet. We're all yet.
Oh, okay. I didn't miss that. All right, cool. Because I'm trying to think. I'm playing it over in my head, and I'm like, wait,
I missed the whole abduction.
Oh, in timeout. Interjection, by the way. My daughter did order the movie. And I said, you do know that cost $20. And you know what she told me? She said,
this is what
she said, I have $20. And I said, where do you don't have any money. Where do you have $20? She said, my great grandma sent me some. Well, her great grandma sent her $20 for her birthday, but of course that went to the bank. But she assumed because her grandmother sent her $20, it's okay that she ordered the movie because she'll pay for it now.
Well, she ain't got it anymore. It's only 24 hours.
Got it anymore.
She watched most of it, but we had it for 24 hours, and had I known, I would have liked to watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
See, my husband's like, yeah, he wants to see it too.
Did you see what BRT wrote for you?
If I call the cable company though, they've had to do it one other time, long time ago, but they'll take it off. They're really cool about it because they'll
maybe not with, will they with this
your play history on it, and they'll see
a very special thing.
Yeah. So we just have to put the lock on that on the TV. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, you have to let us know if they do anything about it because this is a very, very special.
Uh-oh. Michael!
What the fuck?
We lost him.
He'll be back. The trolls was too much for him. It was too much for him, man. He couldn't handle it.
Hard. Michael! It's like, dude, you're talking to yourself because you're not even here.
You're not here. We can't see you. So, should we continue in the asylum? This is what our show is. Our show is
Oh my God. It's like we are in the asylum.
Okay, maybe our show's not a murder house, but our show is an asylum. Our show is a coven. Our show is a show. And so forth and so on. We can even be considered our own cult, you guys.
I know. God. Here we are. We're actually in the asylum with everything that's happening today. So there you go.
All right.
Okay.
So,
hi, Michael. Welcome back. Now I'm in the middle.
Yeah, there you go. I like you in the middle.
Mine is the only one. Mine is the position that never changes. You guys get to change.
Dirty South.
Huh.
So where were we? Michael, you were saying something. What were you saying?
Do you remember what it was?
No, I don't. Amy, remember what it was? Tell me.
BRT said, "Welcome back."
Hi.
Welcome back, Michael.
No. I was telling you.
BRT.
I was telling you about the movie. I was like, what?
Watch Star Trek. First Contact to see James Cromwell's lighter side.
Yeah.
No, I was telling you about that movie. I was saying, call the cable company right away because it's a special deal. It's not like a regular rental. It's like a big new thing that they did. It's the first movie that's ever done this.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, people. And they love it because they're making that money they want.
Yep. Okay, so now we can get to what we haven't talked about yet, which is Lana.
Which I'm very sad I missed the whole thing.
You guys know, now that we're getting here, this is like the most horrific scene. Like,
I thought the scene before it, in the episode before, when he's like abusing her and just manipulating her mind is worse.
Well, that was too, but he's already done that. They're showing how he's breaking her down, and obviously she's playing along because she wants to live. But I mean, okay, this is a testament, first of all, to Sarah Paulson's acting and Zachary Quinto. I have to give it to him because my God, this scene, you want to hate this man so bad. You feel so bad, like you think you feel like this is one of the few scenes in AHS where I feel dirty. Like I feel yucky. I feel like I'm violating somebody's privacy, and not that it should be private, but like this is something I shouldn't be seeing. Like it felt so real and in the moment.
Yeah.
And then knowing what comes later and everything already, you're just like, oh my God. But Sarah's acting, it just
you get the anxiety.
The whole character, but the whole scene in Bloody Face's basement, just all her scenes down there, you're just like, oh my God.
And then that anxiety, you start just like, oh my God, what would you do in that situation?
Yeah.
I mean,
so we haven't said it. He's sitting laying there, and go ahead, Dawn.
Oh God, I have to go there now. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the big elephant in the room, which is the fact that, yes, Bloody Face is breaking her down and basically raping her.
No, he is raping her.
He is.
Yeah.
He's
so basically,
no basic.
He is very much laying there, raping the shit out of her.
Yeah, that's how it opens in the scene. Just
it opens with the shot, and I love the way they filmed it though, because it opens with the shot of just him, and he's not moving fast or anything yet. Nope. So you're not exactly sure what he's doing. And I thought before he was going to be laying next to her or something. When it opens, that's what I thought I was going to see, or him going to lay down. And then you see him moving faster and faster, and then they pan down to her, and you're like, oh my God. Like this scene was so much more disturbing than the dentist raping the Black Dahlia in Murder House. Because of, I mean, and that's still disturbing. I'm not taking away from it whatsoever, but it was more disturbing because, as creepy as it sounds, we got to see her face. Whereas the Black Dahlia, her face was covered because she had the mask on with the ether and everything, or whatever, the nitrous that he was giving her. Right. But we could see Lana's face, and she was awake. So it's like even more terrifying and seemed more real because you see this person awake, alert.
And also you have all the history in your head. You know everything that she's gone through with him to get to this point, and what this poor woman must be thinking. Like all this trust that she put in him, all the naive, stuff. That all of a sudden, this good thing that she was actually with hope and everything with him has turned into this disaster.
I don't even feel that horrible in this scene. You know when I feel that horrible,
Wendy,
is when we get back to Briarcliff.
We'll get there.
God. When she's in that car, which we'll get to in just a second.
We're getting there.
Like, whoa, mind blown, dude. Like, who has this kind of fucking luck?
No doubt.
Yeah, no shit. So basically, we have that whole scene which disgusts all of us. That's like the most disgusting scene ever.
And then he gets up and everything.
And then we have the scene of her laying in bed, and then the angel shows up and sits at her bedside, and she says, "Is that what we're calling her?"
That's her name.
Okay.
Shaka?
Yeah, it's like Scathish, but it's
like Scathish, but it's something else.
Yeah, it's slightly different. Shaka.
I think it's Shaka or something like that. Anyway, so she comes and sits by the bed, and she's like, "You heard me calling you," and she nods her head and says, she's like, and then she starts to cry. I'm like, and anytime Sarah Paulson cries, it's like, oh God, I'm gonna cry. She's gonna cry, and I'm gonna cry. And then when she does the whole thing, I don't know if I can do this anymore. She asks if she's ready to go.
Yeah. And she tells her she is.
She tells her she is, but then she stops her.
Stops her right before, and she tells her she's not ready yet.
Yep.
It's sad.
It's sad. It's just like, oh my God, you could have been done. You could have been done with all of this.
And at this point, the only thing Lana that we know of and that we see later that Lana has to live for is her expose.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything else
she's gone through everything and lost everything.
Gone.
Yeah,
everything's gone.
Now all she has is the truth. That's it.
And that's actually a pretty powerful thing, and especially when that's all you have.
Turns out to be very powerful for her. It drives her entire life.
Yes. Yeah. Our entire AHS.
Talk about luck. So far. Talk about luck. Look what happens to her. It goes all the way into the future, and then she's faced with Johnny. It's like, what the hell?
Anyway, we're not there yet.
Anyway, not to go that far.
Anyway.
One of the only connections I love.
Anyway, he ends up coming back downstairs, has the gall to ask her if she's actually decent before he comes downstairs.
More than manipulation.
Oh my God!
It's like when when people abuse children and then buy them a gift.
Yeah,
like he has assaulted her and then wants to be kind to her.
And obviously, he's at an impasse because he doesn't know what to do now. He's like, we've crossed the line. I think
he's more in control than that. I think he's just manipulative. I think he's playing with her emotions again.
Yeah,
like he's sick.
And she's freaking out because she's thinking he's going to kill her, which that was his plan. Yeah. And she manages to fight with him by grabbing the picture of Wendy and hitting him over the head with it.
Busting with it.
It's like, nice. Yeah.
Because the Calvary says, well, now you can be with Wendy.
Mm-hmm. I know.
He wants to stab her with that needle, knock her out so that he can, he said, I'm going to strangle you or I'm going to slit your throat. I don't believe in guns.
Yeah, how ironic is that?
Isn't it funny for a serial killer to have a moral compass on something?
Well, he could not believe in guns for many reasons. He would want to do it slow. Want to do it bloody. He wanted to do it,
but he didn't sound like that when he said it. He sounded like he was disgusted by the thought of a gun. Like it was just like he doesn't. Like guns are bad.
So anyway, they have the big scuffle. She manages to get the needle out of his hand. She's got the chain wrapped around his neck.
Wraps the chain around his neck. Pull around his neck. She can.
Yeah, as tight as she freaking
Which
can.
is amazing because you can only imagine how tired she was at this point, how she had no energy, how drained. I mean, you see it on her. Obviously, adrenaline kicks in right then in that moment.
Will to live right there. That is a strong will to live.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And she manages to get the keys off his belt
while he's waking up. Typical horror movie where you're like, no, don't go near the bad guy.
Oh, I know. And she manages to get away barely.
Yeah, barely.
She's falling up the stairs, and he manages to grab her again and freak her out. And she's able to kick him off, and he lands on the table and passes out again. And she's able to finally get out of the house. Mm-hmm. So then we see her running.
And she rolls down the hill. Like Jack and Jill.
Yep. Does the full thing running down the hill.
She looks down the road. She looks left. She looks right. And she decides to go one way instead of the other.
Why is it in every single horror film ever, when somebody's being chased, they got to find a hill and they got to roll down it? There's that many hills around everywhere. Everybody's always got to find a hill.
Hey, it's the fastest way down, right?
Yep. Saves them from having to run. They can just fall. There you go.
Unless you had skis, I guess.
So yeah, she looks one way, looks the other way, goes the opposite direction where we thought she was gonna go, and ends up seeing a car that almost hits her.
No, it basically does, because she's like, bam, right on the hood with her hands and everything. So it basically hit her. It just didn't hit her to do any damage.
So at this point, we're thinking, okay, fine. You know, they're
finally somebody. Well, at first,
this guy's up.
Her heart dropped, and so does ours, because we're thinking, shit, did he already get in a car that quick?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was not him, and she just jumps in the car.
Like, hello.
Yeah, she jumps in the car and basically, just
she starts thanking him. She's like, drive, and she's like, thank you. She's like, you just saved my life.
And then he says, you gave me no choice. And then you're like,
gave me no choice.
It's not like you gave me a choice.
You jumped in my car.
You see his face, and you're kind of like, oh, maybe he's just being sarcastic, funny.
Yeah.
And then
I was like,
and you wait, right? And you wait, and you're like, you're hoping nothing bad, because you're like, no, there's no way they're gonna put her in a situation like that. Literally seconds after the other one.
I thought he was gonna punch her in the face.
I did too.
I thought he was gonna shoot her.
So he has the big monologue where he's like just bitching about women
are bitches and crazy, and his wife does this, that, and she tells him, she says, oh, did you get into a fight with your boyfriend? What did you do?
What did you do?
And she says, what makes you think I did anything wrong? And he certainly wasn't my boyfriend.
Yeah, that's too much information right there.
Yeah. And then she tells him, she says, the man tried to kill me and everything. She's like, can you please take me to the police station? And that's when he snaps off, because he's like, oh, now you're telling you get in my car without my permission. Now you're telling me where to go. He's like, you women are all the same, aren't you? And you're right then I was like, what? Yes. That is definitely our biggest, I think, WTF moment of this episode. I mean, there was a lot, but that has to be the biggest. You're like, wait, what?
And then you look and you see Skaha in the back seat. And she's thinking, and then Lana's like, no, not after all this. You're not. She thought that she was coming to take her, and then he pulls out a gun and says, that's it. I'm going to put an end to all this. And he shoots himself.
Well, I don't think she was there for him. I think she was there to tell Lana that this could be your chance, because she knew they were going to end. This guy was going to do it. She knew they were going to end up crashing, because obviously nobody's driving. And I think, at that point, it was like Lana was going to lose her life. So she was giving her the option. And Lana was scared enough where Lana probably called upon her with her song, because the whole point of their song is they don't sing it out loud. It's their soul, their spirit, their heart, their whole being that sings this song. Like, I need you now because I'm in pain. I'm going to die.
It's that feeling. Just let me die. Just take me just in this. It's that feeling.
Mm-hmm. And then, so the car crashes because he shoots himself in the mouth. And then the next scene, she's laying in the bed, And
Yeah.
the
you see her open her eyes, and you're like, wait, where is she? Did she get to a hospital? Oh no! Guess who's standing right over her?
Sister Mary.
When you watched it the first time, you're like, oh man.
Now I'm like, see, I don't know if I want to watch anymore.
Exactly. Like, what the hell?
It's like our hero of the season is like suddenly,
that's a really real emotion when you watch it for the first time, because it's like, the showrunners are just really fucking with you, because you're like, yeah, this is not fun to watch anymore.
Well, it's so dark, like we said, so heavy, and already so much has happened, and we're only on episode 7.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not even halfway through yet.
Right, because this is the longest season.
Yep.
No.
Tied with longest season.
Right.
There's 3 of them that have 13 episodes.
Cult and Asylum are both the same length. They're all 13.
I thought it was Cult. I thought it was Asylum, Coven, and Hotel.
No. Hotel is 11.
Yeah, like 11 or 12.
Yeah. Cult and Asylum are 13.
I didn't even remember Cult seeming that long.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Because that was when they started cutting it off, was right after Cult. They're like, no, we're not doing that long, because they wanted to start pumping them out.
Roanoke was 10 before Cult.
Yeah,
Roanoke was short. That's right. That's right. Because I was watching it.
Obviously, that was our huge WTF moment.
Yeah, that was like
definitely.
Not even WTF. It was like God.
Where she starts telling Mary Eunice all about Thredson and about how he's the murderer. Kit didn't do it. You need to call the cops. And of course, Thredson, at first she's like, oh, you just need to lay back in bed. You need to listen, or I'm going to restrain you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, please, no restraints. I'll listen. And she climbs back in bed, and she gives her the pills and all that. And she tells her more detail about what happened. And that's when she seems concerned, like she believes him. But then we see the flashback of the possession of the devil, talking to Bloody Face. And that's showing us that this is still this demon inside of Mary Eunice that was in this boy. It's reiterating the point to us so that we remember the things that he said before, because we might not be correlating them with Mary Eunice. So that was smart. That was really smart, because it reminded us that he had said what he said to Thredson about being bloody faced.
Yep. And even if you didn't catch it then, you were like, oh man.
That's what he said. That's right.
Yeah, the big light bulb comes on. So now, well,
because we didn't really hear it when he said it to him. Remember, he kind of whispered it to him.
Yeah, we didn't see that in the first scene. They didn't show it.
Because they didn't want to give it away yet.
But during all of this information, we have another scene where Kid is talking to his attorney,
lawyer, which I totally forgot about this scene as I'm watching it. And I've watched Asylum so many times, but that's how insignificant this scene really kind of is for the most part. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It is because, like we were talking about before, where if you didn't think Kit was a murderer, you kind of do now because of the scene with the lawyer. Like, you shouldn't have done that, you dumbass, because now you have done something, even if the guy's not dead, Yeah. But still, like, I totally forgot about this scene. I really did. And what's his name? What is the actor that plays the lawyer? I forget his name. He's such a talented veteran actor. And I was surprised to see him because I forgot he was in there.
I'm going to have to look it up.
Kit's lawyer. I forget what his name is. If anybody remembers, because it's on the tip of my tongue.
No. Anyway, Kit has the meeting with his lawyer, and he ends up knocking his lawyer out because he wants to get back to Kit, or he wants to get back to Grace.
Let's see. BRT said, I trusted him at first because he looked like Bruce Springsteen. Then the rage came out. I think he's talking about the driver in the car.
Yeah.
His little his denim jacket on and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So Kit knocks his lawyer out.
He's a well-known actor too, and I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I know. But Kit knocks his lawyer out, and then when Sister Mary Eunice leaves Lana, you see Frank. Frank's like asking how she is and stuff like that, and then we find out that Kit escaped custody, and that if they see him, they're supposed to kill him on sight.
Yes.
Okay. Then, so Kit ends up coming back to the asylum, going back through the tunnel.
Right. And he leaves the door open so that he can get Grace to leave.
All these people keep going back to the asylum. It's like, why are you going back there?
Well, he goes back
Well,
to
to Lana's defense, she didn't do it on purpose, and eventually Jude doesn't either.
However, he goes back to the asylum, but he doesn't realize that he left the door open and one of the Raspers is behind.
Yeah, one of the Raspers come in.
No, he left the door open on purpose so they could sneak out. Because remember, it doesn't open from the other side unless somebody opens it.
But obviously, he forgot because
but he didn't know. He didn't know one of the Raspers was right behind him.
Yeah.
Now, was this one? I was trying to look and get a close look, and I couldn't unless I paused it, which I wasn't able to do right then. I couldn't see his face. Was this Spivey when Spivey got turned into? Was it Spivey?
Mm-hmm.
So it was Mark Consuelos was the Rasper who got in?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. So he got in, but Grace is sitting in the kitchen while one of the nuns is cleaning, and Kit walks in and says, "Well,
the nun tells her to go back to bed." And she says, "Listen, I'm going to crawl out of my skin if I have to lay in that bed again." She said, "Please, sister, just for a little while." And she says, "Well, basically you can stay till I get done cleaning. Then it's time to go." Yeah. And then the nun walks off to clean. And that's when Kit sneaks in.
The Kit sneaks in and says, "No, well, actually you need to go now." And that's
because he overheard the conversation with the nun.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the Raspers?
I wish they would have done more with it because it's a good plot in the sense that it shows us the sickness and the experimentation of Arden, especially because they did do a lot of experimentation in Nazi camps and stuff.
But they didn't.
But it would have. Why didn't we further it? You know what I mean? It's just like the aliens. It's like we don't get enough.
The aliens. Here's where I have a problem with the Raspers. The aliens is not taking the show off track. The aliens have very significance to Kit and the babies and what his whole huge story that develops all the way through. It affects Arden, it affects Grace, it affects everybody.
See,
but the Raspers were like,
I think it's the opposite. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like the Raspers were more relevant to the storyline than the alien thing, only because, like I said, it showed us what Arden was doing to these patients and what he was doing. Because what was the final product? Like, not everybody died. So what did he do to them? And that's why we get Shelley the way we do. So it's like, I get that we have all of that. That seems relevant. Whereas the alien thing didn't have to be there to make the rest of the story work.
I mean, did the Rasper attacks and stuff, did all that necessarily need to be in there?
Yeah. I guess they played on that just to give them some more screen time because they were already using them. But they could have done it completely differently and explained more about them or what was injected into them or how they were created.
That was the big thing. Is like we get off track during these Rasper stories.
Why is he still feeding them? He never talks about if it's for an experiment and he's, keeping track of things. Like they never talk about that.
I actually almost think that it would have been more intriguing and better for the horror of American Horror Story if they kept going out there to feed them and you kept hearing the noises, but you never saw what it was. I think that would
maybe just saw one because maybe we still see Shelley. We still see Shelley.
Yeah.
And then we see him maybe like toss Shelley out there or something.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do love the big Shelley reveal at the school. So.
Don Stark. Ooh,
Don Stark. Yes, Kit's lawyer. Yes, Don Stark. Thank you. He was in that 70s show. He played Donna's dad.
Yep. So anyway, Kit tries to take her out, and the nurse or the nun basically starts screaming. Frank gets in there.
Yeah, she walks in and she screams help.
Yeah, she's screaming help because everybody knows, or they
think Kit's a dangerous murderer.
And
still
while this is happening, the Rasper's attacking, trying to attack Grace and all this other stuff.
Well, no, the Rasper attacks the nun and bites into her neck and stuff, and then comes after Kit, and Kit grabs the dough hook out of the dough bowl and guts him with it. And he's holding that when Frank walks in and sees him holding this bloody hook where he just gutted this creature.
Yep.
At least the creature is still there, so they don't think that he did that to the nun.
Right. So
they just add that to his list of shit.
I know they'll just add it.
Right. So then Frank goes to shoot Kit.
And then Grace jumps in front of the bullet. And that's what kills her. And then Skaha shows up.
And then you hear Frank telling him, he's like, back away from her. Don't get near her. I'll shoot you. And so Kit can't even go over and comfort Grace and try to see Grace.
Mhm.
And you kind of see the shadow of Frank walking way off in the distance. So I'm assuming he was holding Kit at gunpoint and backing him away based on what you hear.
Yeah.
But then that's when, we see Skahak come in.
And then she takes Grace, and Grace says, the last thing Grace says is that she's free. And then we see her body and the body of the Rasper on the floor, and then it goes dark. That's the end of the episode.
Yeah. It was a good ending too, because you're kind of like, wait, is she going to take her now? What's going to happen?
Well, she did take her.
Well, I know, but I'm saying it leaves you wondering. And then obviously what we see later, we're kind of like, wait, what? That applies. And this will be where we'll start discussing the rules again, the AHS rules.
Yeah.
Because if the angel of death kisses you and takes your soul, can an alien bring it back?
Exactly. Can an alien bring it back? Yeah.
But if an alien can't, does that mean religion isn't real? Maybe the angel of death is really an alien in disguise.
Maybe.
I'm just saying, like, it brings up so many weird questions.
Yes, it really opens the gate. And then you've got all the other things about people being resurrected from death when you get into the coven crap. So
right. And that's what I'm saying. Each season has its own set of rules, but it still breaks the other rules when we're supposed to start crossing them over.
Okay, so all right. So two things. First off, wand reveal, and then I got something very special to share.
All right.
Okay?
Now that was the end of the episode. So now we're going to do the wand reveal.
Bum, 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 bum.
Look familiar?
Aww.
It does.
It's the same wand. Well, it's not the same, but this is the same wand that I showed my last time that we were showing this. This is another Death Eater. I showed you Amicus, and this is Electo.
I like that name, Electo.
First time they ever created one
to talk to you right now.
That were almost identical for twins. Now, tomorrow I will show you one more step to this process. Huh?
Are they twins?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, in the show. Yeah, hold on. I'll get the other one.
I mean, are the Death Eaters twins?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Kind of like the Weasleys?
Yep.
Not bad.
But the Weasley ones are made to look like a broom because they're into Quidditch and stuff. If you put the Weasley ones together, it looks like a broom.
BRT said maybe the aliens are studying the Angel of Death.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
That's interesting. I like that. Oh, yeah. That one's just like a tighter. It's tighter. Like the thinner. The rope is thinner.
Yep. So those are creative for them. And then tomorrow I will show you. These are the ones that the twins had in Half-Blood Prince. They will have different ones in Deathly Hallows. I'll show you that tomorrow. Okay. So then we woke up this morning. My husband got something very, very special in the mail this morning. So I'll play it for you if we can get this. We can get this thing. It's very AHS related. He's a big fan. So wait. You see?
You have to first.
Wait. What's he doing? Hold on. We don't have the volume up. Hold on.
Hey Larry, it's Gus. Your longtime friend Sean wanted me to make a video for you just to tell you how much he loves you and appreciates you. He had a lot of really wonderful things to say about you and your husband Mike, and also just told me that you guys have been having a rough go of it this last little bit, and I just wanted you to know that same. But I hope that things get better. This is not going to be how it is forever, and this is a totally unprecedented time. So there's really no right or wrong way to handle it, but I hope that you're getting by okay, and I'm glad you have a wonderful friend like Sean and a husband like Mike, and I hope that things continue to get better and better and better, and hopefully back to some semblance of normality, normalcy. I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to say some love. I hope that this message makes you smile. You deserve it. He says you make everybody else smile. So, sending you all the best.
Oh, you got Gus fucking Kenworthy.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, that's amazing!
Pretty cool, huh?
Congratulations! Tell Larry I said congratulations.
I will.
That's really Larry's message.
Yeah, it is.
But it was a little bit for you too, which is nice.
Which is nice.
Definitely for him.
That was sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aww.
Cool.
So on that note, I guess we'll say good night, everybody. We had a special guest.
Yeah.
We had a special guest.
We had a special real life AHS guest. Maybe not the way you wanted it, but we had it.
That's right.
That's right. All right. So we will be back tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your day and take care. Bye, guys.
And we're out.